What's going on YouTube? Today we have another mail day, so let's get into it. So everything you'll see today, the total cost on was $310. So we've got our 3 stacks. We have our cards that are not grade worthy, that also are not worth selling individually, that we'll lot out. Cards that are not grade worthy but are still worth it to sell individually. We have our cards that we'll be sending in for grading, and we also have a few graded cards that I bought for my personal collection. Starting with the cards that would not meet grade and also aren't worth selling individually. I've had a couple requests about people asking why they're not necessarily grade worthy, so I'll try to point out a couple things as we go through here. So first off, we have some prison Giannis's, and these, the first thing you're going to want to look for is the centering. And you can see that these are a little off center, which for PSA can still be okay. However, everything will have to be perfect. And on a lot of the Prism cards, you will notice some surface issues, maybe a little ding or a little scratch. If that is on the back of the card, it's generally okay unless it's an indent. If it's an indent, you'll really get docked for that. But otherwise, if the centering is slightly off here, this could still be a PSA 10, but the surface would have to be perfect along with the corners and edges. And this one doesn't, it's got a little surface issue as well. On optic, the main thing you're going to run into is centering. Any cards that have borders on all 4 edges, especially some of the recent Panini releases, have had issues with centering. And again, PSA can be lenient, but a lot of these are just a little too far off center, left to right and top to bottom. And then we have some other cards that I didn't necessarily actually even look over for grading, because getting them graded just isn't worth it. They're just too low a value of cards. So some cards, especially maybe like these contenders, Giannis's, I didn't even look over for grading, because even if it was something that was a 10, especially with PSA's recent price increase of $12 per card if you're submitting over 100, or $15 per card if you're submitting 50 to 100, it's just not worth it to get them graded. The return on investment just isn't there. Next, we have cards that are not grade worthy, but also are valuable enough to sell on ComC or individual on eBay. So we've got a green contenders Giannis. This was actually a throw-in in one of the lots I bought. I think it was the one that had all the 29, I had 29 different Giannis cards. And so it was just a throw-in, and I looked on ComC and it looks like this is selling for $5 or $6. So we'll go ahead and sell that, because it's not something that I would necessarily want for my personal collection. Couple of LeBron optics. So the centering on LeBron optics you see are just terrible. The top to bottom centering on most of LeBron's is going to be off. Every once in a while you'll find one that's really off center, like this, left to right and top to bottom. And if the centering doesn't get you, this one is actually pretty decently centered. There might be some surface issue, or in this case there's one of the corners has a little ding that could knock it down as well. So LeBron optics from this year are just tough to grade. And then a couple Revolution LeBrons from 2017. This one has a little edge chipping, and this one has an indent on the back. Now, cards that we'll be sending off to be graded. With PSA's recent price increase, I'm still sending most of the LeBrons and the Giannis's that I think will gem, but I'm also going to consider start to send some to SGC, as well as some of my personal collection items to Beckett. I don't necessarily like Beckett's grading, but I do really like their holder. So we've got a couple of these LeBron 2017 Revolution. So we've got a few different variations. This is the fractal parallel, the groove parallel, and a couple of the astro parallels. So the parallels I will probably actually send off to Beckett, just because I'd want them for my personal collection. We've got a number of base 17 Revolution. So these, again, I'll have to decide whether or not I want to send these off to PSA, or maybe start sending some of the 2017 and newer to S3C if it's just something that I'm looking to flip. So a number of those. So this is cool. This is Griffey Hypnotized out of Skybox Thunder. This has some issues. It's got a little issue on the surface, and then some back corner and edge issues. So this is going to go to Beckett just because it's something that I like for my personal collection. LeBron 15 Revolution, LeBron Dominator. So these, I really like these Dominator cards, probably because I really like the Griffey Dominator cards of the 1990s. And these are pretty undervalued, I think. You can pick them up for maybe $15, $20. A lot of these will have a lot of corner and edge issues, so something like this at PSA is probably going to come back as 7. So I'll probably send this off to Beckett and hope for a 9. A couple more LeBron Revolution. Then a number of Giannis Prisms. Again, we'll see where these go off to. LeBron Revolution, Giannis Optic, Giannis Mosaic, and LeBron Optic. And last but not least, we have a few graded cards that I bought for the personal collection. So first we have this Griffey Quick Strike PSA 9, and this cost me $35. I thought that was a pretty good deal. It's in the old holder. I actually really like PSA's old holders. I just think they're kind of cool looking. And also with all of the issues that have happened recently with trimming and scandals and fakes coming out of China, it's just nice to have something that you know was slabbed so long ago before any of that all started. And next we have another LeBron Dominator PSA 9. Again, just really like these Dominator cards. Tough set to grade. I think I paid $45 or $50 for this, but just a cool looking card in my opinion. And then finally we have a Griffey Exceptional Green. So this is numbered out of $9.99, PSA 9, and I picked this up for $50. Just a cool looking card. Has a lot of kind of that 90s feel. Looks like some of the EX and some of the Skybox cards of the 90s. So just a really cool card. So that'll do it for today's mail day. Again, gonna try to do these more often, just so they don't take as long.
That's what she said.
And go into some more detail about the cards that I get. Again, $310 for everything I showed off here today. Let me know in the comments what you think. Have a good one.